Hello everyone and welcome to our CESI Talks, which are part of the project We EP Workers and the European Union. Today we're very glad to have Mr. Tudorache here with us, MEP. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
So our project is defined Workers and the European Parliament because we want to bring to the attention of workers and citizens in general the activities of the European Parliament. And Mr. Tudorache, you are the chair of the Committee on Artificial Intelligence and Digital Age, which is very important in this moment in time. We know that one of the responsibilities of this special committee is to analyze the impact of artificial intelligence in the digital age in the EU economy, and in particular on skills, employment, and fintech, education, health, and transport. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mandate of the special committee, please?
Well, as you rightly pointed out, this was a mandate that we received from the Parliament to look into the impact of artificial intelligence, not to work on the legislation that was proposed by the Commission. This will be done by the other standing committees. So our role was seen more to bring together different perspectives that exist in this Parliament in the different committees on this fundamental piece of technology for the digital transformation that our societies and our economies are going through. And as you also indicated, there were also very clear indications, very clear demarcations done in our mandate as to what we should be looking into. And labor market and the impact on skills, competences was one of them. And through the work of the committee, we have organized dedicated hearings on these issues where we've discussed with all stakeholders. The idea was that we would bring a whole society approach to the work of the committee. And I think we've managed to do that.
Absolutely. And can you tell us what are the biggest challenges in the promotion of artificial intelligence across the European Union?
Well, artificial intelligence are three things in essence. It's the algorithm, it's the data, and it's the infrastructure that you need, both in terms of computing power as well as infrastructure that supports the transmission or the processing of data. So I think in all of these three areas, we as a union have to continue to invest if we really want to stay competitive. And I think that's the essence of what we want to achieve. We want to actually use the potential of artificial intelligence to power up our economies, to help our industrial actors, our startups, our SMEs, our scale-ups to actually compete and to use the technology for the good and for making better projects, for reaching quicker consumers, and to also help users, to help consumers in the way they interact themselves with the new realities in our societies and economies. That's what artificial intelligence should be when used for the good, and we as Europeans and we as a union, that's the fundamental characteristic of our approach to artificial intelligence. We want to make it human-centric. We put the human interest at the center of our work, both in terms of legislation, but also in terms of how we will guide investment, how we will guide research, how we will guide economic growth using artificial intelligence in the years to come.
Exactly, and as you said, the important focus should be for the artificial intelligence to be of support of the human, with the human as the center. And then as the trade unions, obviously in this debate, we always worry about the workers and the labor markets because we want to minimize the risks and maximize the advantages. What do you think are the impacts of the use of artificial intelligence on our labor markets in the world of work in general?
I think we have to realize, and it's important to start from this point in this discussion about the impact on labor market. Every industrial revolution in the history of mankind had an impact on labor as it stood at that very moment. When the steam engine came first and changed the way everything was done from agriculture to industrial processes, of course, it took the labor market by surprise, and it changed something in the way that was done. The same thing goes for digital and for artificial intelligence. Yes, it will change the face of some jobs. And it means that some of the jobs may be rendered obsolete, not necessarily as such, but in the way it was done until now. And I'll explain. For example, and we can take anything from a worker in a factory all the way to, I don't know, an air traffic controller in an airport, a very complex job. It's not that these jobs will disappear, but the way they are done will change fundamentally. For the air traffic controller, a lot of the things that are being done right now, either through his own or her own senses, or through the machines using the technology of today, would be helped or could be helped by artificial intelligence that could project to that artificial air traffic controller the data around and surrounding the traffic at an airport in a completely different way than it is right now. It doesn't mean that the fundamental decisions which are being taken by an air traffic controller would change, because you would still need that human being taking responsibility for deciding when and how to land an aircraft. The same thing would go, I don't know, for a worker in a factory, in an assembly line. Even if there will be a very powerful computer with a very powerful algorithm sorting out and helping and doing most of the processes that perhaps now are done differently, there would still be a need for a human control. So I think the way we have to understand of artificial intelligence is not something that is subdued to the machine or to their algorithm, but something where the human remains on top of the decision and on top of the process. Of course, there will be a change, and we have to factor that into the way we're going to prepare our workers and our labor force. There will be a change in substance. There will be a need for reskilling. But I think that is true for any industrial revolution, for any technology change. We will have to see how we put our workers through new trainings, through a reskilling process, so that we adapt them to the realities and the needs of processes that will be powered up by artificial intelligence. And of course, we also have to invest in initial skilling, in initial process of acquiring competencies for our students right now, for our pupils right now in schools, to prepare them for the jobs of tomorrow. And last but not least, we have to project better, I think, and this is something where trade unions, together with employers, together with regulators, have to sit together through a process of mapping out the competencies needed by tomorrow's technology and technological revolution and tomorrow's economy, so that we can go through these processes and this reskilling and this training as smoothly as possible and as less disruptive as possible for the current labor force.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. As what you said last is very important. It is part of our responsibility as social partners to come up with agreements that help the process. And as you were saying, artificial intelligence should be viewed as a tool to help us with the work and to ease us our work, not as an enemy. And I think if we start viewing it this way, it will be easier for us to come up with processes of upskilling, reskilling of workers. Mr. Tudorache, thank you very much for your time, and I hope maybe we can do another interview very soon in order to update on the work of the committee. Thank you for your work. I think it is very important to look at this topic, and I thank you all for watching. Thank you.
Thank you.